Assalamu alaikum everyone. So let's start off with the new feature launch for February 2022. With me is my team, Zufa and Asra and Salman. And together we will be presenting you what new features we've launched. And we'll be talking about the details of those features, followed by their demos and what value creation they will be bringing in Salesflo. Okay. So for those of you who are new here, I'd just like to give you a recap of what happened in our last webinar. So this is something we do monthly. And so just to tell you about what happened in our last webinar was that we talked about some exciting new features. We talked about some web features. We talked about some mobile application features. And then we followed by some system improvements that we talked about. And for each feature, we walked through a demo, right? So this is what happened in our last webinar. Moving forward, just to show you about the upcoming innovations, that is the 5th February innovation plan that we followed for this month. This is the 5th March one and the 5th April one. These two are still subject to change, but this is what we followed, the 5th February one. Okay. Now, if I move towards the agenda of basically this webinar, is that we'll be talking about two web application features. That is the MSS implementation on the web, and something related to project code download. We'll be talking about it in further detail. Secondly, we worked on some mobile application features where we've made checkout easier. We've introduced application walkthroughs. So we've worked on some communication related modules, and then followed by some minor improvements in the system, which we'll be talking about further. Okay. Yes, so let's move on to the first part of our agenda, that is the web app feature demos. And the first feature that we will be talking about is the MSS implementation on web. So just to brief you a little of what MSS is, basically we have a feature in our system that is must sell. We can define must sell on different types of categories. That is, you can define must sell on a brand, you can define must sell on a master SKU or an SKU. Must sell is basically that you want to either restrict the quantity or the value for an order booker to book an order on. So if I give you an example, let's say you want that every order that an order booker is booking for a specific channel, आप चाहते हैं कि उसके ऊपर वो इतनी क्वांटिटी तो मिनिमम पे बाय करता ही रहेगा, right? So we had that feature in our mobile application, but we had no controls over our web application. If a web order was being placed and MSS was not being followed on that order, the order was allowed to go through, right? So we've built that control, and Asra will be giving you a detailed demo of how this feature will be working. So over to you, Asra.
So assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you, Saman. So as Saman said that previously only the must sell could only be applied to orders that are placed on the app. So that means if a KPO or anyone sitting and placing an order on the web portal, the must sell couldn't be applied to that. So we shall see how that works now, because now it's possible to do that on the system. So let's call this webinar MSS1. So there's two types of restrictions. You can place a must sell on the quantity and the value. So quantity is like you're defining mujhe itne SKUs, like, you know, these many SKUs need to be part of the order for it to go through, or you can put it on the value, that the value of this particular SKU must be this much for the order to go through. So we'll make one for each. Let's go with quantity for this one. We can select a distributor. So I'm going with as distributor. we can decide which channel we want to place on. So this means that all stores of that channel that fall under that distributor, it'll apply on that. So let's go with retail. You can select specific type. So you can you have everything in the product hierarchy, SKU, brands, category. You can see and decide what you want to place the must sell on. So let's go with SKU. We can just so here we can see that let's go with biscuits. That's the first SKU on there. So here we have two fields, master quantity minimum and quantity maximum. So basically minimum quantity is where you're writing, you know, at least these many SKUs must be part of the, sorry, at least these many SKUs must be part of the order for it to go, these many units of that selected SKU. So in our case, it's biscuits. So hum yahan pe karte hain, let's say 10. So at least 10 biscuits must be part of our order for it to go through. And let's put the maximum as 100. So here are 3 checkboxes. So we have an option whether you want the must sell to be a suggestion or whether you want it to be required. So if you've selected the required ka checkbox, that means until and unless whoever's placing the order doesn't add the defined units, the order won't go through. But agar aapne ye check nahi kiya hai, that means it's just a suggestion. It will be there for you. It will show up when you're placing the secondary order, but the order will still go through. So we can add the must sell here. Okay, and then we'll also create another one on value, just so I can show you how both of them work. So it's like a very similar procedure. We can call this webinar MSS2. This time, hum restriction type, we'll select that as value. Distributor, we're selecting again, we'll go with the same distributor. Channel, we'll go with the same channel retail, just so it's easier for us in the demo to follow along. So this time the point is that we'll also apply it on a different SKU, just so you can see the difference. So SKU, this one, let's place it on, let's call it biscuits 1. So the first one was biscuits, us pe quantity pe hai, and biscuits 1 pe us pe hai, on value. So the same way, humne pehle minimum and maximum quantities define ki thi. So yahan pe we're defining the minimum and maximum values. So that means, let's go with 1,000. So that means if 1,000 rupees worth of this SKU, biscuits 1, if that's been added to the order, then it will go through. Otherwise it won't. And let's go with 10,000. So same rules apply. If it's required, so it'll be compulsory. The order won't go through without it. And if this is unchecked, so it'll be there as a suggestion, but it'll still let you place the order, even if it's not selected. So we added the must sell. Now we can create a secondary order and see if the must sell shows up there for this distributor. So please select distributor. We had to put both the must sells on task distributor. So that's here. Store name. So here we need to remember we put it on the retail channel. So we need any store that falls under that retail category. Uske liye the same must sells will show up. So I know for a fact that it's on like all of these stores, but let's say like task store 19. That's the channel name retail. So now we wait. So now we can see there's 2 other tabs that show up here. So a view must sell details mein, we can see that SKU name biscuits, that was the first must sell we made. Okay, uske andar, remember we'd applied that on quantity. So we can see the minimum and maximum quantity that is here. And then the second must sell we made, that was on biscuits 1. So we can see that usko we did it on value. So we can see that we put 1,000 and we put 10,000. and quantity is 0 because we hadn't put quantity on that. So both the MSS that we had put are here. Now let's see, okay, if we were to try and place our order, if we try and place our order without meeting the must-sell criteria. So let's say I put some other SKU, like SKU test one. I try and put like 100 units of that SKU. And if I try adding a secondary order, it says required must sell not fulfilled. So now we see the third tab, add required must sell. In that, it's the same thing as what we looked at before, the view must sell, except this one you can add add the quantities. So remember, we defined it as for the first SKU, we said that there need to be 10 units of biscuits added, at least 10 units of biscuits added. So if we try 1, it's red, it won't let it go through. But if we try like 10, or if we do like 11, if we do 12, it lets it go through. So let's go with 12 for now. And then the second SKU, biscuits 1, uspe we placed an MSS of minimum and maximum value. So like if we do 1, it doesn't go through. But let's say if we do like 1 unit, that's obviously not going to be worth 1,000. But if we do, let's say like 100, so that goes through because there's probably like SKU value itni hogi. So we save it. And then when we try adding secondary order this time, so we can see that record has been added successfully. I'll also demonstrate how it's possible, how it works if you untick the required text box. So let's say you only want it to show up as a suggestion. You don't want it to show up as you don't want the order to not go through. So yahan pe I unticked the text box in the value wala. So we're saying for biscuits 1, you want this to be a suggestion. Okay? So I've unticked this text box and I've edited this myself. And now when I try creating another secondary order, on the same distributor as before, TAS distributor, same store or like any retail store. This time we can see that both show up in the view must sell details. When you go on add required must sell, only the first one shows up because the second one is not a required must sell. We made it optional, it's a suggestion. So that's it for this feature.
Thank you, Asra. Okay, so now I'll share my screen and we move on to the next feature, that is project code downloads and which stores are included in which project code, right? So just to give you an overview of what problems the customers have been facing, was that you guys, everyone basically is using our promotion module, and everyone knows that to create promotions in the system, you need to have project codes, right? Now, project code is a cluster of stores that you basically make either on channel or distributor or different national आप बनाते हो project code, different actually categories है जिसके ऊपर आप project code बना रहे होते हो, ठीक है? And there can be a situation where a store is part of 2 or more project codes. So let's say you have 5 project codes in the system and हर project code के अंदर आपका store डला हुआ है, ठीक है? But now if you have a number of project codes created in the system and you want to find out that which store is part of which project code, you didn't have that visibility, right? So this was a problem that our customers were facing, and to give clear visibility, we have worked on this report that we'll be giving you. And Asra will be giving you a detailed demo of how you can basically select different filters, and based on those different filters, you'll be able to see what stores belong in which project code. So over to you, Asra.
Okay, so like someone said that if a user is sitting and they want to apply a new project code and they're trying to see that what they want to apply a new project code on a store and they want to see what project codes already exist on this store. So now there's this blue arrow that appears. This wasn't there before. So when you click on that, you can download stores with project codes. So each of these options. So the end goal is to get a list of you provide the system with a list of stores for whom you want to see in pe kaun se project codes applied hai. You can either do this via town hierarchy, where you select a town, you select a locality, you select a sub-locality, and eventually you select the stores. You can do this via channel hierarchy, where you select a channel type, then you can select a channel, a sub-channel, and eventually a list of stores. Or you can also upload a CSV. So you will upload the list of store codes, and then in return, the system will fetch the project codes that are applied on those store codes. For the sake of this demo, let's go with town hierarchy. So you select towns. These are the localities that fall under those towns. These are the sub-localities, and then these are the stores that fall under those sub-localities. So let's go with task store 1, 2, and 13, 16. So we've selected the stores from our end. Then we press the download button. So as we can see here, there's a file gets downloaded. When we open that, we can see the screen. So we can see there are two columns that appear, store code and project code. So store code, we can see there's like on the left, we can see that we've selected store number 1. So again, store number 1 are the corresponding project codes that are applied on it currently. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 approximately. We can see project code like 0001, 006, 2, 7, 3, 5, and so on. Then we can see this was store number 2. Okay, these are the project codes for that. Store number 13. These are the project codes for that. And then store number 16. And these are the project codes for that. So the same way you can do channel hierarchy and a bulk upload via CSV as well. So in bulk upload, the system will make sure that you're only able to input those store codes that are visible to that distributor.
Thank you, Aswa. Okay, let's move on to the next part. That is, we'll now be talking about mobile application features. So just to give you an overview of what features we've worked on, is that we've made checkout easier. That is, पहले क्या होता था कि जब आपका एक order booker एक order book कर रहा है, and if he's done booking the order, वो उसको back का button press करके जाना पड़ता था, and उससे वो store उसका checkout होता था. ठीक है, but now we've made a proper checkout button. इससे हमारे how we'll be able to basically solve the problem is that if you're pressing the checkout button, आपका बिल्कुल exact जिस time पे order उसने close किया है वो record हो रहा होगा. So in field आपकी जो calculation है time की, how much time an order booker has spent in the store booking an order, that is also correctly calculated now. Right, so this is one feature that we've worked on, and this was also a suggestion that we got from the webinar last time as well. Okay, we should work on a checkout button. So we've incorporated this change. The next is application new feature walkthroughs. So webinar में हम लोग app के features भी आपको दिखाते हैं, web के features भी दिखाते हैं. But जो actual users हैं हमारे mobile application पे, वो they're obviously not attending the webinar here. So उनकी ease के लिए, ease of use के लिए, whatever new features we're introducing in the application, we've incorporated walkthroughs for them, so that once they update the application, they're able to see how a particular feature is to be used for their convenience. Okay. The third thing that we've worked on is that whenever we used to book an order, we used to have it in liters. की visibility होती थी हमारे पास that this much liters have been booked. But now we're giving visibility of both kg and liters in the application. And then lastly, what we'll be talking about is effective communications through the broadcast feature. So people who have been using our communication module know that the system has the capability to upload video messages to an order booker. So आप वेब पे जाते हो, आप वीडियो अपलोड करते हो, आप उसको मार्क करते हो कि ये मैंडेटरी है या नहीं है ऑर्डर बुकर के लिए. And then the order booker gets a prompt in the mobile application that this is a new broadcast that has been uploaded, and वो जाके उसको देख लेता था. उसी के ऊपर हमने एक नई एडिशन क्रिएट की है, दैट इज कि अब आप लोग पीडीएफ डॉक्यूमेंट्स भी अपलोड कर सकेंगे. सो अगर आपको कोई ब्रांडिंग मटेरियल है, कोई प्रमोशन रिलेटेड मटेरियल है, you guys can simply upload it on the web panel, and the order booker will have the visibility in his phone. So Salman will be talking about all these features in a greater detail, and he'll also be giving you a demo for it. So over to you, Salman.
Thank you so much. Let me share my screen. So I'll be presenting some of the features that we have made live in our current release. So to start off, I'll start off with broadcast PDF option. So in our communications tab, we have an option to send either a video or a PDF. So currently we just had a capability to send video to order bookers, but now we have built the capability to send PDF as well. So if you go to communications tab and add broadcast, so there will be option to either send a video or a PDF. So in case of PDF, you will add the title of the PDF, you will add some description if you want, and you can either mark it as mandatory or optional. So in case of mandatory, order booker ko basically order lagana hoga, but if it's optional, then order booker doesn't have to first view the PDF, then take an order. And you can add the start and end date. So agar end date reach ho jati hai, then the PDF visibility will be expired on the application. Then order booker won't be able to view it. So here you have an option to upload the PDF, and you can upload the files up to 3 MB for the communication. So now coming to the app part, as in how will it look on the application side. So let me share my screen. So on the application front, if you go on more tab, which is a communication tab basically. So here you will have the visibility to either view the videos that has been sent from the company or the distribution, or you can also view the PDFs. So PDFs में basically आप लोग कोई भी आपकी product कोई नया launch हुआ है या कोई भी communication आपने order bookers को देनी है या फिर कोई भी promotion relevant information हो, you can send out to order bookers. So here on simple tap, you can open the PDF. जैसे WhatsApp पे for example आपको कोई PDF भेजता है, you can simple tap and open the PDF and उसका सारा content आप देख सकते हैं. So similarly, you can send the PDF and order booker will be able to view it. So here यहाँ ये भी visibility होती है कि is it mandatory and ये particular PDF expire कब हो रहा है. So that was about the PDF feature. Now coming to my next feature, which is the visibility of volume and weight in the application. So order bookers को obviously आप targets भी देते हो, volume targets देते हो, and weight में भी उनके targets होते हैं. So उसकी visibility भी obviously उनके लिए फिर relevant हो जाती है. So जैसी वो बुकिंग करते रहते हैं, उनको भी ये visibility होनी चाहिए कि उन्होंने कितना लीटर्स में बुक कर दिया, कितने kgs उन्होंने बुक कर दिए. So that is the visibility that we have provided in our this release. And the major update we did is the checkout button. So let me just visit one store. So जैसे ही आप किसी store पे check in करते हो and अब वैसे take picture करते हो. Okay, so हर चीज़ अब अभी आपकी जो checkout की functionality थी was on the back press button, which is ideally not right, क्योंकि order bookers के experience point of view से ही बात करें तो there should be an confirm order button. Even last webinar में भी there were suggestions from some customers कि there should be a checkout button in the application, क्योंकि आप जो reports भी देख रहे होते हो उसमें check in checkout time आपके पास आ रहा होता है. So there has to be a proper calculation and visibility of checkout. So what we did is we have eliminated the functionality of checkout from the back button, and we have given the option to check out from the button. So basically जब आप बैक बटन दबाएंगे so आपके पास एक पॉपअप आ जाएगा कि आर यू श्योर यू वांट टू एग्जिट द स्टोर एंड डिस्कार्ड द ऑर्डर. सो बैक प्रेस में इफ यू गो बैक प्रेस देन आपका जो भी आपने ऑर्डर लगाया है वो डिस्कार्ड हो जाएगा इफ यू प्रेस यस. सो वंस ऑर्डर बुकर चेक इन करता है, वो कोई भी एक्सक्यूज ऐड करता है फॉर एग्जांपल, देन देयर विल बी अ बटन ऑफ प्रोसीड बिलो आपकी जो ऑर्डर बुकिंग स्क्रीन है. सो प्रोसीड के बटन के साथ वी हैव गिवन दी विजिबिलिटी कि उसने कितने यूनिक एसक्यूज बुक किए हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल अभी मैंने 2 एसक्यूज ऐड किए हैं, सो प्रोसीड के साथ आ जाएगा कि आपने कितने यूनिक एसक्यूज बुक किए हैं. वंस द ऑर्डर बुकर प्रेसेस द प्रोसीड बटन, उसको एक शॉर्ट समरी आ जाएगी. सो प्रीवियसली होता था कि ऑर्डर समरी हर ऑर्डर बुकर नहीं देखता था, बट नाउ ही विल बी एबल टू व्यू द ऑर्डर समरी. इन ऑर्डर टू व्यू द डिटेल ऑर्डर समरी, वो व्यू डिटेल समरी पर टैप कर सकता है. So there's an option to check out after proceed button. So जैसे ही order booker check out करता है, so जो आपका check in और check out का mechanism है that is properly maintained now in application, and जो आपकी reports में जो check out का time जाएगा that will be more accurate now. So that was about the checkout feature. Now I'll come towards the in-app walkthrough that we have built. So for that I have to log out from the application. So basically we have built this feature of in-app walkthrough. So इस पे ये होता है कि जब भी हम कोई नया major update निकालेंगे even in upcoming releases, so order booker को exactly idea हो कि feature exactly है क्या and इसको use किस तरह करना है. So for that we have for example जो checkout button की functionality हमने डाली है, so इस पे order booker को exactly पता होगा कि इस feature को use किस तरह करना है. So for example, in the first screen, you can see there's a proceed button, and once the order booker taps on proceed button, there will be an option to check out from the store. So checkout, so the walkthrough का basic मकसद ये है कि order booker को exactly पता हो कि feature किस तरह use करना है. So that was all about the application related updates. So if you have any questions, you can leave it on chat or you can ask after the end of presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Salman. Let me share my screen now. Okay, so that was regarding the application release. Now we'll be moving on to our third agenda, third point in our agenda, that is system improvements. And we'll be talking about the system improvements that we've done. So the first improvement that we've done is that business unit can now be updated against distributor from front end. So basically what we've done is कि आप लोगों के different business units created होते हैं, right? So let me take an example कि business A है and business B है, right? And उसके under आपकी relevant product hierarchy होती है. So business A has their own product hierarchy, business B has their own product hierarchy. Now, if a distributor is serving business A, then आप जाके सिर्फ उसके ऊपर टैग कर दोगे ये business A का है distributor, right? So ये हमने functionality build की है that you can mark your business units on the distributor from front end, and आपका download भी कर सकते हैं इसको, आप updates through CSV भी कर सकते हैं. So all that functionality is present. By default, if आप लोगों के जो भी business units हैं वो distributors पे सब पे टैग दें ताकि disruption ना create हो visibility point of view से while we're launching this feature. Okay. So the second thing that we've worked on is that pricing history जो है आपकी available नहीं थी with effective dates. So what used to happen was कि जो भी हमारे customers multi pricing use कर रहे थे, अगर उनको कोई भी SKU के against different pricing देखनी होती थी, तो उसके they were only able to see आपके प्रोडक्ट की स्टार्ट डेट होती थी और आपकी एंड डेट जो है उसमें नहीं आ रही होती थी, ठीक है, एंड ओनली इफेक्टिव प्राइसेस वर बीइंग विजिबल इन द डाउनलोड CSV file. But now what we've done is we've given the user the capability that when they're downloading the prices, they will be able to exactly see what price level is active right now and what price levels have been active in the past, and उनकी जो भी start date and end date जो थी वो भी सारी आपको clearly visible हो रही होगी in that CSV. So you'll be easily able to filter out what are active price levels, what your prices have been against the SKUs with effective dates, and so on. Okay. So the third thing that we worked on was user status visibility in the download CSV. अच्छा, so what used to happen was कि हमारे सिस्टम में बहुत सारे यूजर्स क्रिएट होते हैं ओवर टाइम. ज़ाहिर है जो भी कंपनीज हमारा सिस्टम यूज कर रही होती हैं उनके यूजर्स आते हैं जाते हैं, एंड देयर आर नंबर ऑफ यूजर्स दैट दे क्रिएट, राइट. So what we've done now is that जब आपको अब यूजर्स को डाउनलोड करने की जो CSV थी उसमें हमारे पास कोई एक्टिव इनएक्टिव का स्टेटस नहीं आता था. सो वंस यू वर डाउनलोडिंग द CSV यू weren't able to exactly tell कि अभी मेरा कौन सा यूजर एक्टिव है सिस्टम में और कौन सा नहीं है. सो उसकी भी हमने विजिबिलिटी क्रिएट की है ताकि you guys are easily able to filter out what user accounts have been marked as inactive and what user accounts are currently active in the system, so that you're able to segregate the two, right. So that was all regarding the system improvements that we've done, and I'll move further by showing you guys about the upcoming features that we will be working on. So some exciting features that we're planning to work on, जिनका हमने कुछ groundwork भी start किया है with some customers. So this is what you can expect for 5th March, for 5th April, and 5th May. These are still subject to change. But just to give you a clear visibility and idea of what we are planning to work on. So this is our upcoming innovation plan. Yeah. So with that, I'd like to move on to the question and answer part. So if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat window and we'll be happy to answer them. So we have a few questions and I'll discuss them here so that everyone is clear on this forum. So Ali has asked, what if an order booker checks in and checks out without making an order? Will the time be calculated as per the time spent in shop? So जब वो स्टोर के अंदर चेक इन करता है एंड जब वो कोई ऑर्डर नहीं लगा के बैक का बटन प्रेस करेगा दैट ही वांट्स टू एग्जिट द स्टोर, तब भी एक चेकआउट का टाइम स्टैम्प ऑटोमेटिकली बैक एंड पे क्रिएट होगा. सही है, उसको एक पॉपअप आएगा दैट यू स्टिल वांट टू प्रोसीड विदाउट बुकिंग एन ऑर्डर, तो वो जब उस पर क्लिक करेगा तो आपका बैक एंड पे टाइम स्टैम्प रिकॉर्ड हो जाएगा. सो द करेक्ट टाइम चेक इन एंड चेकआउट टाइम का elapsed टाइम पूरा आपका करेक्टली कैलकुलेट होगा. So Ali, I hope that answered your question. Another question is, if in case the store is unproductive, then how will it be done? अच्छा, if a store is unproductive, तो फिर तो वो आपका जब check in कर रहा होगा so उसमें पूछता है वो कि do you want to service this store, तो उस पे आप जब no click करेंगे तो वो ले जाएगा कि what are your reasons for not booking an order. So unproductive का जो हमारा चलता आ रहा है workflow वही रहेगा. Okay. Okay, so any other questions? किसी के? Otherwise, we'll proceed to concluding the session. Ajay, we've tried to make the webinar basically shorter and more meaningful ताकि बिल्कुल to the point हम करें discuss because आप लोगों का भी पूरा working day होता है और उसके अंदर फिर time निकाल के join करना इसलिए हम लोगों ने थोड़ा सा with more effective content and we've tried to reduce the time as well. So this is the feedback that we got कि थोड़ा सा time के ऊपर so that's what we've tried to incorporate. Do you guys have any other questions? Otherwise, we can proceed to concluding the session then. Okay, so there are no further questions. Acha, so at the end of the webinar, we basically circulate a survey as well. So उसमें please आप लोग अपना feedback भी दीजिएगा. If you still have any questions regarding any other features, तो वो भी आप लोग in case you need clarity, तो आप लोग अपने CSM से contact कर सकते हैं. Then you can let us know if you have any suggestions regarding a particular feature. तो वो भी आप हमें दे सकते हैं कि how can we improve further upon the features that we've talked about here. So with that, I'd like to end the session and thank you all for taking out the time and joining this webinar. Okay. Thank you, everyone.